Scorpio, welcome to Mary's Angel Tarot. This is a general reading for Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Okay, Scorpio, let's get started. You are loved in a way that has not yet found its voice, and the silence around it has nothing to do with the size of what is being felt. Someone in your life is carrying something for you that has grown quietly and steadily into something they did not entirely plan for. Not the kind of love that announces itself early and loudly, that rushes toward expression before it has had time to understand itself. The slower kind. The kind that forms in the background of ordinary interaction, that builds without the person carrying it always being aware of how much it has built. That one day reveals its full size to them in a moment of honest self-examination and leaves them genuinely surprised by what they find. That is the love that has been forming in this person. And what they found when they looked honestly at what they carry for you was something larger and more serious than they had been prepared to name. The secrecy of it is not strategy. That is the first and most important thing to understand. People sometimes keep love secret because they are calculating, because they are waiting to see if something better comes along, because the secret gives them control they would lose if the feeling were expressed. That is not what is happening here. The secrecy of this particular love is the secrecy of someone who is in genuine awe of what they feel, who has been sitting with something that surprised them in its depth and has needed time to fully absorb what it means before they could imagine bringing it forward, who is, in the most honest sense, still getting used to the size of their own feeling before they attempt to communicate it. Getting used to the size of it, that phrase is worth staying with, because love that grows to a significant size without being immediately expressed creates its own internal experience. The person carrying it lives inside a particular kind of fullness, a quality of their daily life being colored by your presence in it, even when you are not physically present. A way of moving through ordinary moments with an awareness just beneath the surface, that you exist and that your existence matters to them in a way that has become fundamental. You are not only in their thoughts during the obvious moments, the times when something reminds them of you or when your name comes up in conversation. You are more consistently there than that. Embedded in their baseline experience of their own days. This is what mad love feels like from the inside of the person carrying it, not the chaos that the word mad sometimes suggests. The specific quality of feeling that does not respond to reason, that does not reduce when the practical mind argues for its reduction, that does not diminish with time or familiarity, but deepens. That is mad in the sense of beyond the ordinary logic of how feelings are supposed to work, beyond the calculations of timing and practicality and appropriate levels of investment, beyond what this person would have chosen if choosing were the mechanism. It is simply there, completely, with a force and a consistency that has become one of the most reliable features of their interior life. Let us trace the timeline of how this developed, because the history of it tells you something important about its nature. It did not begin in a single dramatic moment. There was no lightning strike, no obvious instant of falling. It began more quietly than that, with a noticing, a particular attention to something specific about you that lodged itself in their awareness and stayed. An observation made early in knowing you that seemed minor at the time but turned out to be the beginning of something. A quality in you that they found themselves returning to in their thoughts, examining from different angles, finding consistently interesting. From that initial noticing, things developed in the way that genuine things develop gradually. through the accumulation of further observations, further interactions, further moments of being in contact with who you actually are, and finding each time that what is there is more than what was there before. Not because you changed, but because their capacity to see you deepened. Because genuine attention to a genuine person is a progressive revelation. Each layer of knowing reveals the next layer to be known. And this person has been going deeper into knowing you with the particular absorption of someone who cannot seem to find a bottom to what they find there. At some point in that process, what had been interest became something it was harder to give a casual name to. The feelings organized themselves into something with more weight and more direction and more specific wanting than interest alone produces. And the person carrying this began the particular human experience of sitting with love that has not yet been declared, of living alongside their own feeling without yet having placed it in the shared space between two people. That experience has a quality that is both rich and slightly uncomfortable. Rich because of the fullness of what is being felt. Uncomfortable because of the gap between the fullness of the interior and the relative normalcy of the exterior expression. They have been living in that gap for a while now. The secret has its own life inside them. It has its own rhythms. There are moments when it is quiet and they move through their interactions with you from a place of relative ease, enjoying what is present between you without the secret pressing too insistently toward expression. And there are moments when it is not quiet at all. When something you do or say or simply are in a particular moment produces a response in them that is very difficult to contain within the normal register of how they present themselves to you. A moment when what they feel rises closer to the surface than usual and they have to make a small, private, effortful decision to keep it below the line of what they show. Those moments are more frequent now than they used to be. The secret is becoming more insistent, more pressured, less comfortable inside its containment. What they will do is the forward dimension of this message. And it is the part that carries the most significant energy right now, because the madly secret love is not going to stay secret indefinitely. The pressure of containment has been building past the point that indefinite maintenance is realistic. Something in them has shifted in the balance between holding and expressing, and what has shifted is the weight of continuing to be silent, beginning to feel heavier than the vulnerability of speaking. Not dramatically heavier, not all at once, but genuinely heavier. The scale has tipped. And when the scale tips in, a person who genuinely feels what this person feels, the movement toward expression becomes not a question of whether, but of when and how. The ring in this title is not casual imagery. It points to something specific about the direction and the seriousness of this person's orientation toward you. The love they carry does not exist in a framework of temporary or casual. They are not thinking about you in terms of a pleasant connection they would like to maintain at its current comfortable level. They are thinking about you in terms of something lasting, something built, something that has the structure and the intention of permanence behind it. The ring is the symbol of that intention made visible. Of the private certainty finding its most committed external expression. They are not necessarily planning a proposal tomorrow. The energy around this is not that literal or that immediate. What is literal and what is real is that their internal orientation toward you has the character of permanent intention. That in the honest territory of their own desires and hopes for their life, the vision that feels most right, most true, most genuinely wanted, is one in which you are consistently and lastingly present. Not as a guest in their life, but as a central inhabitant of it, as the person around whom the significant things are organized, as the one with whom ordinary things become meaningful. That is the direction the love is pointing, and the movement of it toward expression is going to carry that direction with it. When they eventually say what they have been holding, they will not be offering you something casual or provisional. They will be offering you something with the full weight of serious, lasting, genuine intention behind it. Something that was arrived at through honest reckoning rather than impulse. Something that has been tested by private examination and found real. Something they want you to know because they have decided that continuing to carry it without your knowledge is a kind of withholding that no longer feels right. The energy around this situation right now, the quality that comes through at Mary's Angel Tarot for someone standing at this particular place in their story is one of genuine imminence, real movement. Not the perpetual imminence that never quite resolves into actual arrival, but the specific building, pressure-driven imminence of something that has reached the natural limit of its private phase. The secret is preparing to become known. The internal is preparing to step into the shared. The love that has been madly, quietly, thoroughly present is preparing to find the words that will carry it from one person's interior into the actual lived reality of your connection. Something in your own sensing may have been registering this without you having had clear confirmation of what you were sensing. A particular quality in certain interactions with this person that felt like more than what was on the surface. A moment or two of something that seemed to almost arrive and then pull back. A way they look at you occasionally that carries something you have noticed but perhaps been careful not to build too much on. These are not misreadings. They are the surface expressions of the pressure building in the interior. The places where the secret comes closest to the surface, where the containment is at its most effortful, where what is deeply felt briefly becomes visible before being managed back below the line. Trust what you have been sensing. The sensing has been accurate. What you were registering was real. The feeling behind those moments of almost expression is genuine, substantial, and much larger than those brief surface appearances have been able to convey. The iceberg principle applies. You have been seeing the small portion that appears above the water. The portion beneath is significantly more considerable. There is something this love, when it is expressed, will ask of you in return, not in a demanding or transactional way. Simply in the natural way that genuine love, when it is offered honestly, creates an invitation for genuine response. An invitation to be equally honest about what you carry. To bring the real version of yourself, the one that has feelings and hopes and particular ways of wanting to be loved, into the conversation rather than the managed version that is careful not to want too much or reveal too much or be too much. The person coming toward you with this love is bringing their full, honest, unmanaged self. The invitation is to meet that with your own. What becomes possible between two people when both of them are present in their full, genuine selves? When the secrets have been spoken and the feelings have names and the direction is acknowledged by both, is something qualitatively different from what was possible in the managed, careful version of the connection that precedes it. More real, more intimate, more capable of actually becoming what it has the potential to become. The expression of this love is not only significant for what it says, it is significant for what it makes possible. For the new quality of connection that becomes available once the most important true thing between two people has been placed in the shared space rather than kept in the private one, let yourself be open to this. Not with urgency, not with the pressured openness of someone who is trying to make something happen. The genuine, relaxed, genuinely receptive openness of someone who knows something real is approaching and has decided to be available for it rather than braced against it. That openness is its own form of invitation. It creates the specific quality of safety that someone who is preparing to be vulnerable needs to sense before they can complete the movement toward expression. You create that safety simply by being who you are, by the quality of presence you bring, by the particular way you receive things genuinely that makes people feel their genuine things are welcome. This person has felt that safety in you. It is part of what has made the love grow in the direction it has grown, and it is part of what will eventually allow them to close the distance between what they feel and what they say. The mad secret love is real, it is substantial, it has roots and direction, and the serious intention of permanence behind it. And it is moving through the natural pressure of its own size toward the moment when it steps out of the secret and into the shared, when the person who has been carrying it alone begins the process of carrying it with you instead. That moment is not far. The love has been patient, but patience has a natural limit when what is being held has grown this large, and what is held here has grown very large indeed. Be ready to receive something real. Okay. Thank you so much for watching Mary's Angel Tarot. If this reading resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more messages. Take care of your energy, trust your intuition, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye-bye.